Do you ever get angry at Jordan?
Yeah, I do.
That's a weird question. I know, but
No, I think anybody who has lost someone to suicide in particular, if they're honest with you, will say at some point they've gotten angry. I
yeah,
mean, it's also anger is a stage. If you go through like the traditional 7 or 5, whatever many stages of grief, anger is a stage. So you might, in other situations, be angry at someone else, whether it's like the person who caused a car accident or God for not curing someone of cancer or whatever.
right. Welcome to All Can, No Can't, the podcast where we toss out excuses, face our fears, and reclaim control. I'm Jeff Luther, your guide to mastering the chaos and turning obstacles into opportunities. Whether you're an entrepreneur navigating the ups and the downs of building a successful business or someone ready to rewrite the rules of your life, this is your space to grow, to push boundaries, and to embrace doing the hard shit that leads to greatness. Together, we'll explore stories of resilience, strategies for overcoming, and the mindset shifts that let you build a life on your terms. I use my experience with a life-altering diagnosis to help you find the can in every can't. So buckle up, because it's time to stop living in can't and start thriving in all can. You choose. Welcome back to All Can, No Can't. This is the podcast about resilience, responsibility, perspective, connection, and what it means to keep moving when life doesn't go according to plan. It's about finding that opportunity in what we perceive as an obstacle. And we have a great guest back again today. Stephanie is returning. Stephanie Renner. A former attorney, and now she's doing corporate coaching, and her specialty is regret. It's really about overcoming grief. She's chosen regret as the word, the powerful word in her framework is regret to resilience. In our first conversation, Stephanie shared the story of losing her son Jordan to suicide. We talked about grief, regret, family, and what it means to continue living after a loss that changes everything. And then we stopped the recording, and both of us were like, oh, wow, I should have said this. I could have said this. I could have asked this. So Stephanie, that's why I wanted to have you back. And I really appreciate you of agreeing to this. And I told you briefly, like, I admire you. You are so brave. And it was just a little overwhelming to talk to you the first time. So thank you for agreeing to do it again.
Thank you for having me. Absolutely.
And when we talked last time, we started the conversation. I just wanted to take a minute to remember Jordan, and you told us a little bit about him. I think I told the story about my great grandmother. But this time, you have another son, Trevor, and last time we shared his Instagram. Did he get any love at all? Do you know?
I think he did. He definitely told me because I had a conversation with him. I think I told you this the first time I had really talked to him on something talked about him on something like this. And I got a little nervous thinking, okay, I probably should talk to him about what the boundaries are. And so I had a little conversation with him, and I told him that you had put his handle out there, and he said, is his name like Jeff? And I said, yeah, it is. And so at least he saw for sure yours, and I don't know what else. He gets a lot more followers now than he used to out of the blue, but he probably got some more. I just haven't asked him exactly.
Yeah. He's got a lot. And also, like, the photos. There was one picture where he had a kid getting hit in the batter's box. I was like, dude, that is amazing. That is such a good picture. You can clip video and like put the little still up there, but the detail was amazing. It was clearly a photo shot.
He's gotten a lot better, and he's self-taught, so it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's really cool. All right, so then just a little bit about Trevor. What's he working on now?
Well, he had worked. So he's had a job since he was 14 years old, and he had been working at a restaurant here in our neighborhood that's like a block away from us. He went from like busboy to being a line cook, because I think I told you last time we thought he was gonna be a chef forever.
Right.
So he loved that, but he ended that job, and they had like they made a whole Facebook post about him and everything, because he's been such a part of their culture. I mean, I live in this smaller, a live work type neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's kind of its own some people around here call it the Truman Show, but everybody kind of knows each other. And we lived here before. And so when Trevor first started working at this restaurant, people were like, "Oh, you're Stephanie's son." And by the time we moved back here, I became Trevor's mom. I am Trevor's mom all over this neighborhood.
Oh,
So,
wow. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So he ended that, and he actually is doing delivery for Chick-fil-A at a Chick-fil-A restaurant here in Louisville. They like have their own cars that
Yeah.
they let him use. So I can't believe, I don't really understand. As a lawyer, my mind is like, you're putting an 18-year-old out in your vehicle.
Right.
Like, I don't even know how you get insured for that.
Right.
But,
An 18-year-old
yeah, that's
boy
what
at
he's
that.
doing.
Like,
Yeah, that's what he's doing now. But he moves in the dorm at University of Louisville in just a few weeks, and he has an internship with the athletic department doing photography. So it's going to be fun.
that's so cool. It's super fun.
Yeah.
All right. So, as a mom, can you pinpoint like one thing you're most proud of when you look at like the man he's becoming?
Yes, it's his integrity and what people say about him, about just what a nice and good person he is. So he graduated from high school, obviously this past fall, and or spring, not fall. And at his graduation ceremony, it's like 450 kids in his class. It's a pretty big school. The principal, did his little speech, and they don't give any awards at the ceremony because they have a separate award ceremony, except for one, and it's the principal's award. It goes to one boy and one girl, and it's for character, and he won it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's $1,000 scholarship, and
Oh, no kidding.
out of this whole big class of kids, we had no idea, so it was really cool.
That's super cool. All that stuff is so fun to hear. It's like those little proud parent moments. And
It is.
as a parent,
It
everybody
is. It's
knows that.
complicated though for when you're in maybe my situation, because I envisioned Jordan winning a lot of awards and being like scholarships and really excelling. And his last few years of high school, he kind of just gave up, and we had all these behavior issues. Like he just, you asked me before if I grieved what could have been,
Yeah.
and the answer is yes. But I was grieving that years before because I saw where he was going.
Yeah.
So I have complicated feelings about it. Of course, I'm super proud of Trevor, and it's amazing, but it's just weird. Yeah.
And I can't. The normal response is, "Oh, I can imagine," but you know what? I can't. I can't imagine. I can think of what it might be like, but there's no way to know. Is that where the word regret comes from? Because that word just hit me when you were saying that. Like,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, that's.
Some of it.
Do you ever get angry at Jordan?
Yeah, I do.
That's a weird question. I know, but
No, it's not. It's not. I think anybody who has lost someone to suicide in particular, if they're honest with you, will say at some point they've gotten angry.
yeah,
I mean, it's also, anger is a stage. If you go through like the traditional 7 or 5, whatever many stages of grief, anger is a stage. So you might, in other situations, be angry at someone else, whether it's like the person who caused a car accident, or God for not curing someone of cancer or whatever.
right, yeah,
So it can feel like someone quit on you or gave up or put you in a position to hurt. But what I have to remind myself of, and I think most people do, is no one, for the most part, I don't really know, but what I know about Jordan is you don't do this because you want to, right? It's because you're sick, because your brain is torturing you,
yeah,
because you don't believe that people want you here, or that you should be here, or that you can do what you need to do to survive as an adult, or there's all kinds of reasons. And
yeah.
he didn't leave a note or anything, but I mean, I just know from conversations that he didn't really want to go.
And he told you that he felt like he couldn't. He felt like it was too late for him to be a normal human being. Is that? Do I have that right?
Yes. Yeah.
And the medium
He
said
struggled.
he was scared that he wouldn't be couldn't become an adult.
They couldn't function as an adult,
Yeah,
basically.
sorry.
It's he was socially awkward sometimes. He had I would say severe ADHD. Like his executive functioning skills were just really bad, and he had chosen not to medicate. He self-medicated. He thought had the answers to how to medicate himself,
Yeah.
which weren't working. But so yeah, I think that's what it was. He felt like he had figured out too late in life, one, the extent of his ADHD, and then also that he probably was on the autism spectrum, like higher functioning on that spectrum, but still not highly executive functioning. And he just knew his brain was different and he thought differently than most people. And he didn't always understand the appropriate way to react to things or when to say certain things and when not to say them.
Yeah.
And he just felt like, I mean, it just, that part really, every time I say it, it breaks my heart, because just the idea at 18 that you think it's too late for anything is just, I mean, I get it. You don't know at 18,
Right.
but it seems like, you're starting to be an adult, and if you don't have it all figured out now, how are you going to do it?
Yeah.
But
And there's so
obviously we know that we still don't have it figured out. I'm 50. I don't know how to be an adult.
I don't have it figured out.
Right?
And there's so many things to unpack with that. So first you have, okay, he knows he's awkward. He knows he's different. He knows that his brain's not serving him as well as maybe he thinks it could. So that's one like basic human need, right? Is that need for connection so you can be loved. Well, if you're not good enough, then how can you be loved? So I would imagine that was tough. And there's a book, Will Storr. I think it's the Science of Storytelling.
Okay.
And in that book, he talks about suicide, and he goes into, that's one of the stories that people want to tell is when they need help. He says suicide is more prominent in men or males than females, because the brain is wired to solve problems. And when you have a problem and you don't see a solution, then it takes away your hope. And then you're in a position of hopelessness where you have no hope. And a lot of times that drives the suicidal ideology, I think.
Yeah. I think in women too, especially, I think the rates are particularly high in adult men, right? And this is not a comment on someone being selfish or not. I never think suicide is a selfish decision, by the way. That is not what I'm saying. But I think women tend to feel like the world depends on them so much, like the world around them depends on them. We tend to be the ones who keep the balls going in the home and the emotionally and with all the kids and with all the things, right? And so I do think there's a less of it's almost like we think we can't take that out.
Yeah, who would pick it up?
It's not right. I mean, I've read a little bit about that. I don't know that that's the scientific explanation, but I have read that explanation a few other places.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean,
I know.
until you're in it, and everyone's different.
Yeah.
Well, one of the questions, one of the things that stuck with me, we had mentioned that you found him, you found Jordan, and I guess one of the questions is always, what was it like? But I'm curious, when you close your eyes and you go back to that day, what's the first thing that you remember? Like, is it a smell? Is it a sound? Is it?
I don't know. There's parts of it that are kind of a blur.
Yeah.
I would say it's the the sight, which I try to avoid as much as possible.
Yeah.
I think a lot about. I don't think I handled it. This sounds ridiculous, but because who handles it the right way? But I think about I turned around and ran upstairs and told Trevor to run back upstairs, and he kept asking me what happened, and I don't think I told him until he heard me tell the 911 operator. I don't think he understood. I mean, look, I think he probably knew because he lived in this house with us all
Yeah.
where these threats were happening. But I said that how it happened, and I don't. I think that's the first time he heard it, and I regret that. It's wrong word, but yeah. If I had to do it over again, which I don't wish that I ever have it to
Oh
do
my
over
gosh,
again,
yeah.
but right, like that is, that must have been a traumatic way to have that answered.
Well, and this is a hard question to ask. Was that subconsciously intentional? Was it easier to tell Trevor that way than to tell him?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I think I just think I was in shock.
Yeah, well, I think you get a pass for that.
Yeah.
For sure. So I do know, we talked about you told Trevor whatever he's feeling right now was okay. And if you felt relief, that was okay. How did you find the words? Like, how'd you find the words to tell him that? Because I think that's brilliant. Like, I think it's so brilliant for the time.
I think it's probably something I had read or thought about, or there's something subconscious going on there about that. Like, and I think I knew it's just, there's all this chaos and it all of a sudden comes to a screeching halt, right? I mean, even just sitting out on that porch that morning, it was like, oh, this is over.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it probably came from some of my own complicated feelings.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm sure. Which I guess, let me ask this question. Has anyone said, Stephanie, that it's okay to feel what you're feeling?
Yeah, my therapist.
Okay.
I have a great therapist. And my family. And, my sister and I talk very openly and honest with each other.
Yeah.
So I'd say those are the two people, and for the most part. I think everyone else, they don't know what to say. So they just don't really comment on it.
Yeah.
But I also don't necessarily talk to everyone about that.
Right. Yeah.
I'm judicious in who I would say that to. Like, I don't know. I don't know. My ex-husband listens to this. I don't know what he's going to think about that. He may not have ever felt that way. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
but everybody has a different experience.
Yeah. And I can tell you, as a split household, I can understand because, like, my boys are with me full time. I have 3, and they're with me all the time. I mean, their mother packed her shit and went to India. So and it was like that before.
Eat, love, pray.
Something like
Eat,
that.
pray, love, whatever the
whatever the theme of the day is, I can tell you that. It's all namaste until we get to a money conversation. This all changes. So my boys are here all the time, and they were before, even like the last 3 years. So it's different, and typically the typical scenario is the boys are with their mother. So the mother is the one that gets all of the anger, all the lashing out. That's where the boys find their boundaries. It just happened to be different in my house because I had the boys all the time.
Yeah, that was not the situation with us until the last couple of years with Jordan. But my boys went back and forth 50-50 since they were 3 and 6. I mean, he's a great dad. Yeah. But those last couple of years, Jordan, for a variety of reasons, chose to just be with me. So I did very much get the brunt of most of the anger and acting out and chaos.
Yeah. Yeah.
For
So
sure.
you're coming from two completely different places.
Yeah.
So pursuant to what we talked about earlier, like the statistics being higher for males than females, because females, they hold everything together. They have all the balls in the air and they're doing it all. And were you ever allowed to fall apart? Did you get that?
No. Mm-mm. Not until then.
Yeah.
I did. I mean, after he died, yes.
So I guess, like, did you ever feel like you had to be the strong one because it was, I mean, shit, who else was there?
A little bit. I mean, yes. When it came to like Trevor and just keep keep going, yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, was I allowed to fall apart? No, not completely. I mean, I couldn't just not do anything. But I will say, I was surrounded by just an incredible group of friends and family. My sister, I have two women who are two of my best friends here. I had people that I went to law school with say, they live 4 and 5 hours away. I'm driving down. Tell me who's staying with her for the next these many nights. I'll be here this many nights. Um, you know, like people flew in from all over the place for the service. I had a lot of support.
Yeah. That's awesome. And,
Yeah.
I would say, oh, well, how important was that in your healing? But who knows, right? Because you didn't have to do without. So, moot
Yeah.
point.
I'm sure it was. I mean, I know people who haven't had that, and you don't realize what you have until you are in a situation like that. I mean, I knew I had great friends, but they're like, I mean, you and I talked after last time. It was Mother's Day. I mean, I
Yeah.
had several friends drop their Mother's Day and come to my house. My sister, my best friend,
Yeah. Yeah, and we went a little further in that conversation about it being on Mother's Day. You found him. I just can't. And we talked about this. I'll ask your opinion. Like, do you think that was intentional?
no. Of course, I went there in my head, but I really feel like, and I think I knew this in my heart anyway. I mean, we were very close. There's in some weird way, I think he did it in my house because that felt safer to him.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, maybe he knew I could handle it. I don't know. But the Mother's Day thing, again, this is a woo-woo type story. So some people are going to believe it, some people aren't. I felt like at some point I had asked him for a sign to tell me that it had nothing to do with me. And I felt like I had gotten that, but I don't remember what that was at this point. But then September of that year, I was driving in my car and I was going there in my head again, like, oh my God, was he trying to send me some sort of message? Was this about me? Whatever. I mean, the last text messages they weren't angry, but it was me telling him to do something that I'd asked him to do several times, So I just was talking to him out loud in my car. I just said, look, I just need you to tell me that this doesn't have anything to do with me or Mother's Day. And I got home, and a few hours later, his friend Heaven, who was a few years older than him and had a little boy who Jordan used to babysit sometimes, called me just out of the blue just to check on me. And so we chatted for a little while. As we were getting ready to get off the phone, she got kind of awkward. And she said, there's something I've been wanting to say to you, but I didn't want to put something in your head that wasn't already there. But I just decided that you're a mother and I'm a mother, and I know that it's there already. And she said, he didn't know it was Mother's Day, right? This is September. We're not talking about Mother's Day. Nothing's right.
Right.
And I just asked out loud in my car 3 hours earlier, I need you to tell me for sure this had nothing to do with me and it wasn't Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So whether the people listening think I'm crazy or not, that to me, put that to rest.
Yeah, that would put that to bed for me also. And I will add that being a dad with three teenage, well, now one is 21, but three boys in the house, if it's not about them, then they really don't know what's going on. So,
Right. Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Several people have said that to me. They've said the idea that an 18-year-old boy was thinking about Mother's Day in a
Right.
moment like that. Yeah.
Yeah. What does Mother's Day feel like now? You've gone through two, right? You've gone through two. Okay.
Yeah. It's interesting. I
As you know, I've been coaching for a little over a year now, and my coach just laid something pretty heavy on me. They've challenged me to have 50 powerful coaching conversations booked within the next 30 days. So if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, maybe successful but unfulfilled, or you just need to talk something through with someone that you know will listen, then I would love to have that conversation with you. This is not a tactic. There's no sales pitch. It's just one powerful conversation. This is complimentary to you. So if you want in, send me a message and I'll send you the link. I got you.
what I have learned is that all the markers, right? Mother's Day, birthday, anniversary, the date of death, Christmas, whatever it is, even when I don't think I'm thinking about it or I'm sad, this idea of what the book that people have talked about for a while now, The Body Keeps the Score. It's a book about how like your body and your like emotional experiences and trauma and those types of things are connected. I mean, his birthday's tomorrow, and I have just felt in my body it's been heavier. I've needed to sleep more. I felt weighed down. I've just felt like a sadness, even though I'm not thinking about that all the time necessarily. It's just sort of it just comes over you, even when you aren't even thinking about the date. So that's partially what happens around Mother's Day. But it's okay. I mean, I don't know that I don't feel any different about Mother's Day than I do about the date of death, which are only a couple days apart, depending on
how
it will come back around to the same day eventually.
Yeah.
But also I know, by the way, that he did not die on Mother's Day. He died the night before,
Okay.
but because I found him on Mother's Day, that's the date of death.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So is it like? Well, I have a couple of questions about that. One. So remind me about the word loss, and then my first question is: do you feel like is there a little bit of guilt to celebrate Mother's Day? That just hit me.
No,
Okay.
because I have another child.
Yeah, good. And then do you feel loss over and over? Like, you might go, let's say hypothetically you go for a month or two and you've been doing okay, and then it hits you again. So there a certain smell, a certain Family Guy comes on, and then it hits you again. Do you feel that loss over and over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a weird thing. Sometimes it comes out of nowhere, and sometimes those reminders sometimes they make me feel lost, and sometimes they remind me that he's here.
Okay, that's nice.
So sometimes they're nods to, and they come along a lot of times at times when I just need them.
Yeah. Which is
I would
great.
say more than loss anymore it just at various times feels surreal. So it just doesn't feel real until it does.
Oh.
It's like you forget almost.
Yeah.
You forget that he's not here.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, I have a dead son.
Right. What do you do with that? Do you ever that just kind of, when that came out of your mouth, that kind of shocked me. And then I thought, but you have an alive son. Like, because I wanted to say something comforting to make me feel better.
Yeah, we talked about that last time, right?
Yeah.
That's what people do want. You just have to sit with it, really. I mean, I try not to push it away. I mean, I am a master of compartmentalizing. So I always have been.
Yeah.
So, if I have to put it away for the moment because I have to, because I'm in a meeting or I'm doing something important, whatever I do. But I mean, I think the right thing to do is you sit with it when it happens and you let yourself feel, which isn't always easy. I've had to learn that.
Yeah.
I've always liked to avoid that as much as possible. Kind of gets in the way, right?
Well, you were a successful attorney.
Yeah.
Are a successful attorney, rather. Yeah, compartmentalizing kind of comes with the territory, right?
Yeah.
So, my next question, my next curiosity is, I know statistically they say that when a family member commits suicide, it normalizes it. And statistically, there's a 34% increase in the likelihood that another family member does it. How did that change how you parent going forward?
I don't know, because we have always been aware of the risk of suicide, and because it's been such a discussion in our family for so long.
Yeah.
So I think I was parenting to avoid it before. It just
Okay.
sometimes doesn't work. I don't, it's not that I don't worry about it with Trevor. It's just, he does not display the signs. Now that doesn't, sometimes you don't see them or whatever. I try to check in. I try to be as, on top as possible. He has his own therapist. He knows he can go anytime he wants. Like, that's what you can do. I mean, and then, I have 2 nieces and a nephew that are very close. And so they're here in town, and they have all the conversations. My sister has done a fantastic job of being really open with them and, watching them also. But yeah, I try not to think about that statistic a lot. I know it exists.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to bury my head in the sand about it, but you can't worry yourself to death.
Yeah, we talked about that last time with did you do all you could? Well, short of strapping him to a bed and leaving him there's not a lot. I'd like to add too, I think this might be a good place, that you've earned being an expert on this topic, unfortunately, probably a gift you don't want. But I think what you say is important. And just, I'm hoping to give you a little more confidence in your answers, because I feel like there's some tension there when you say something like, I don't know, does everyone believe this? And I'm not sure it matters, especially coming from your perspective. So.
Yeah, we all get imposter syndrome about certain things, right? And I think, I don't know how you felt when you decided to do this whole coaching and speaking thing, but I've looked at other people and judged them before.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
why, how do they get to do that? So there's always this little bit of like, do other people think I'm making myself an expert about something I'm not, or whatever. But you're right. I mean, I'm certainly an expert on grief and loss, and I'm a different kind of expert than the kind who studied it like scientifically, but you can be both. I mean, there can be both.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can break that down as simply as we would like, right? Someone studies basketball doesn't mean they're a great basketball player. I think living it in the experience really gives you more authority than anything. My thought.
Yeah. And everybody's experience is different,
Right.
just like any program or whatever, what works for one person may not work for someone else.
Yeah.
I think I've come up with a unique approach to particularly talking about regret and guilt. And that seems to be validated when I talk to people. I get a lot, even to other mental health professionals, besides my own therapist, I get a lot of, oh gosh, like I never really thought about it that way. So, but I don't get, oh my God, that's crazy. I can't believe you just said that. It seems to be helpful to people.
One of the most helpful things that I've heard, and one of the most helpful things I think you said in the last episode, was about, well, you did all you could do, and you heard that over and over, and then finally you're like, whoa, wait a second, no, I didn't. And, you said it. You never do all that you can do, and I think that comes from, and correct me if I'm misinterpreting that, but you only get that wisdom through experience. I think.
Yeah, I think that's right. I do. It's funny. I had lunch with a former colleague today, and we haven't seen each other since Jordan passed. And he said the same thing. He said, "Well, you did everything you could." and we were already talking about my career, where it's going, what I'm talking about. And so I had this conversation with him. I said, "I'm not telling you that was the wrong thing to say at all. I just here's how I've been talking about that and thinking about that." And he's had his own experience with a child who had some major issues, and I think it resonated for him too.
Yeah, I think it's powerful, but I also think that we do it to make the other person feel good or feel okay, which gives us some relief or some release, maybe.
Yes. Yeah. Well, like I said, I think it is really the issue I have with it, besides the fact that nobody does everything they can, is it is focused on fault.
Yeah. Oh,
and I don't.
That's how we live.
We should be talking about fault,
right?
In this situation.
I think that's societal. I think we always want blame. We need to solve the problem, and the problem is who's responsible for this shit. Who do I blame?
Right.
So it sounds like obviously y'all have open conversations around this, and the word feelings is hard in my house. Three boys. I mean, we even have a boy dog, so it's just all boys, all male, all the time. Can you help me? Can you help me? Like, how do I get talking about feelings? I think is important, and it sounds like you and Trevor can do that.
I don't want to give you the wrong impression. He's an 18-year-old boy. Like, I am confident that he knows that he can talk to me if he wants to.
Yeah.
I know that he has other outlets for that. And so I check in, but I don't get a lot of, he doesn't open up and talk to me. Jordan he'd pour out all his emotions all the time. He'd talk to you for hours about what he was feeling.
Oh my God, shut up. I've heard it.
Yeah. I get nothing. I don't get a lot here. Yeah. I feel like I've put the parameters in place. The difference may be that it may be hard for you to talk about it a little bit, and it's not hard for me. So I am able to say things like what I said to him on the porch, or to talk to him, in other times. I had a conversation recently where I didn't outright say everything I just said to you about, I feel like I said the wrong things that day, but I did say, I just want you to know, in retrospect, I've thought a lot about recently that I don't think I handled that day the best that I could. But obviously I was in shock. And he said, I kind of nodded, and I kind of what I got back from him felt like, I appreciate that, but I also don't blame you or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, he didn't say those words. That's what I felt in the head nods and the okays or whatever.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, I can identify with that. Hey, man, you can talk if you ever need to. Yeah. All right. I mean, if you ever want to talk about
Yeah.
anything that's bothering you or how you're feeling, like, I'm open for it. Totally judgment free. Okay. That's about as far as that goes.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, he was going to this therapist before Jordan passed, and so that was helpful. I do think like that's one of the places where I have a lot of confidence that he's got good professional help if he needs it. He also has found this a Christian group that he's very involved with, and whether I am on board with all the things or not, they're good kids, and it's obvious that he has a lot of open conversations with other guys, and that makes me happy.
Yeah.
So I feel like he has that support.
And for me, like, we're probably cut from the same cloth when it comes to that, but it's structure. Like, the structure piece of it,
Yeah.
I'm down with. Do you remember the first time, like, you allowed yourself to laugh and be back to normal after Jordan died?
I do not know the first time I allowed myself to be back to normal. I don't even know that I am now. But we laughed a lot that week leading up to plan. I mean, I'm a big believer, because I grew up in the South, of like, you don't hold out forever to have the service, right? You have it
Right.
pretty fast.
Yeah.
And I particularly thought it was important in this situation because there are all these young kids who were sort of flailing and shocked by this and needed like a place to honor him. And so, he died of death, like he died on a Sunday, and we had the service that next Saturday. I mean, it was fast, but not as fast as some people. I mean, when I was a kid, and sometimes it was like 3 days later.
Yeah, you hardly had time to get a ham, right? I mean, it's like...
Right, exactly. But we spent that week. So all these people were at my house all week, sort of planning this, and we didn't do it in a church because Jordan very much did not believe in God, or he's very, very anti anything that wasn't explained scientifically. So I wanted to honor that. So it was at a funeral home, and the songs that were sang were not religious songs. And I had a friend who, he says he was master of ceremonies, which is kind of a funny way to put it. But he sort of led the service, and the planning of that up to it, there was a lot of laughing because that's what he would have wanted. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
again, I can't, there's no way I can identify with this, but I do see a lot of times where people stay so entrenched in that misery that they feel like they feel like they can't love the person and be happy in the life without them unless they're just grieving them. Did you start to get trapped in that ever in this process?
I did. So he passed in May. In October, I went on a date with someone who it went really well, and we planned a second date. And so one, I had complicated feelings that I had put myself back out there anyway, but I did it. So we had a second date planned, and I just got super nervous, and some things had happened with Trevor where he had told me he just wanted to live with me from here on out. And I just felt like I needed to focus on Trevor, and I couldn't. And I didn't feel right. It just didn't feel like I should be dating or whatever. Right. I started to get this guilty feeling about it. Now, we then went out again in early December, and it's the best relationship I've ever had. And I truly actually believe Jordan sent him to me. It's the easiest, most wonderful thing. I've been divorced for 15 years, and I never thought I was going to live with someone again. And we lived together, which is crazy.
Oh, wow.
Having someone in my space and all. Yeah. It's nuts. I could not have imagined it. But
That's amazing.
I've had a lot of complicated feelings about that.
Yeah. Selfishness, does that come to mind?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And I was going to make the comment that dating as an adult is a goat fuck anyway. So, I mean...
Listen, I got 15 years I've been divorced, Jeff. I have stories. When I first divorced, like, I mean, I did the online dating. I've done the online dating thing off and on for years, but back then there weren't even apps. This was still like Match.com and, whatever else. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've often said I'm going to write a book just about that.
Oh my God. Well, good for you. That's awesome. But I can identify with that selfish piece. I have to be here. I have to be here. I'll add this too. This is a little off topic. Well, not that dating is not off topic, but a little off topic. I saw, this was in a entrepreneurs group I'm in. We had a doctor come in that was like, an author and all this stuff about kids. And he did a presentation on raising kids. And two things that he said that stood out to me. He asked this group of entrepreneurs, what is the best thing you can do for your kids? And people say, set them up with a 529 plan, set them up with a trust early, and do all this stuff. And he said, okay, well, the number one thing you can do for your kids is nothing, because they'll have to do it for themselves. Mm-hmm. And as time goes on, then you think, oh, wow, yeah. And then he also said that the best gift you can give your kids is the gift of taking you for granted. So and that one I struggle with, but it also, that helped me, like with the whole dating thing after divorce and all that. It was like, you know what? Like, it's my kids, they can take me for granted. They know if something happens, like they call and I'm there or anything. So
yeah, they also need to see you happy.
That is 100% true. Yeah, and I don't think.
And they need to see. I mean, if for whatever situation the previous relationship was, like, they at some point, hopefully they can see modeled like some kind of good relationship, but also they can see you. That my best friend said something early on. We met right after we had both divorced, and our kids were really young, and we were dating and stuff. And she, people have all these opinions about how long you wait till you let somebody meet your kids, blah, blah, blah. We both very much took the approach of, I never liked the idea of I have to wait some amount of time and then be like, oh, hey, kids, I hope you like him, like, after you're already like so far down the road that you don't want to go back, right? And she said she thought it was healthy for her boys to see her dating and to making choices and understanding that she wasn't just falling in love with the first person who came along, or that she was being like choosy about who came into their life, right? And not by seeing her dating, not that they met every person, but that they knew she was going on dates. Like you don't hide it from them, right? I don't know. You'd have to ask. She has two boys. You'd have to ask our boys how they feel about the fact.
I'm sure they'd love that conversation.
Over these years, who knows what they would say. What I do know is that Trevor really likes Tim now, and he likes to tell him every once in a while, like on his birthday, which was just a couple weeks ago. He wrote in his card, "My gift to you is letting you date my mom and letting you live here."
That's
because
awesome.
Before he moved in, I told him, like, you have veto over someone living here.
Yeah.
Like, because, I mean, I only had a couple more years of Trevor being at home. I wasn't going to have someone live here if he wasn't okay with it.
Yeah.
So he likes to remind him that he has veto power over him living here.
That's pretty cool. So if Jordan walked through the door now, like, these things, these experiences that we have, they change us, they force us to grow. Would he recognize you? Like, would he know that parts were different, that you've grown since?
I think he knows some things were different, but I think he recognized me because he was a very intuitive. I mean, he saw people for who they were before they showed themselves sometimes. Yeah. So I think he knew what I wanted, what I wanted to be doing, who I wanted, the kind of person I wanted to be with. I think he'd be happy.
Yeah.
But I think he would see some changes, but yeah, he would know me.
So part of your identity is successful attorney, and and now you do public speaking, you do some corporate coaching, you do individual coaching too. And was that part, was Jordan's death part of that change, like using the, I mean, I say it's a gift. It's not. I don't mean it that way.
I know what
a
you
gift
mean.
you don't want,
Yeah.
right? I think we've talked
A
about
catalyst.
that.
Yeah.
Was that part of your change?
Yeah. So this is something I've wanted to do in some way my whole life. I always have loved public speaking. I did like competitions in high school. It's never something I've been afraid of. It's just something I've always enjoyed. I never really knew how to make that work. I'm not sure I knew that that was a career up until, I don't know, past 5 to 10 years maybe. I couldn't really figure out what my thing was, what I had to say, what I had to talk about. And I started writing about some of my experiences of parenting a child who was going through like mental health crisis and some other things like that, even before he passed. I think that's not right. I mean, the first one I put out there was after he passed. I'm sorry. But so I had written after he passed about some things like on Substack, and I put them out there, and it resonated with people. And that's when I started to think, okay, I have a message here. I think it was after my mom died that I said, I just can't do this anymore. I can't do what I'm not happy doing anymore.
Yeah.
And I have to take the leap. So I think Jordan and my mom were the catalysts for saying this, it's time. And obviously this experience has given me an experience to integrate and talk about, and a story.
Yeah. Do you ever feel awkward or guilty about about having that, and using that to get stronger and as a catalyst to do something that's fulfilling for you, but it's something that you would give anything probably to undo?
Of course. I think I more just get in my head about what other people might say and how they might think about it than I do, because I know that I'm not, capitalizing on it or whatever. I'm certainly not yet, because I'm not making any money. But I think the thing is, before I even said I was going to talk about this, I was really talking about authenticity and women's empowerment. Even after my mom passed and I first started down this road of trying to do this, I met with a friend who does some branding and work, and she did my website, and I had like 4 different topics on there. And, one of them was about sort of regret or guilt or something, grief. Then one was about the power of kindness. One was about authenticity. It was more of like a empowering women type thing. So it wasn't until I found, the same group you and I both use, Brand Builders Group, that I really started to think about having truly, okay, here is what I'm going to speak. This is my message for now. Doesn't mean I'm not going to talk about those other things sometimes, but this is where I feel, for lack of a better word, called to be right now.
Yeah. Parent to parent, human to human, however you take this, or however you receive it, I think is the proper way. Like you said, well, what are people going to think of me? I will tell you what I think of you. I think that you're not an anomaly as a human. You have the same emotions that all of us have, and you're one of the few people that are brave enough to speak your truth, and I think what you're saying about this, your message, is unbelievably helpful, particularly for parents that have experienced this, and for parents that haven't. Like the wisdom I've gleaned from you just in the 2 hours we've spent together has been just like such a gift, and I hate what you did to get it, but thank you for speaking it.
Yeah.
So if you want some judgment, there's some right there. Like that's what I think of you. I think you're so brave.
I understand. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And I understand that sentiment of there's a mom here in Louisville who I'm friends with who lost her son to suicide about 10 years ago. And that was before I met her, but I went to her when Jordan was going through some of this and making these threats. And so she's been there this whole time. And obviously was one of the first people there for me when it happened. And I tell her all the time, like, I'm not grateful that this happened to you. And I'm not grateful that you can like share this experience. But now that it did, I'm grateful that I have you. That we,
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, like, I'm really glad you lost your son too, so you can help me.
Yeah.
Right? That's not.
Yeah, and we went through that last time. Like everything happens for a reason is bullshit, right? I think that was. I was like, yeah,
that's exactly what I said. Yes.
But I think we do that. Like I was listening. I don't know who it was. Somebody like Tim Ferriss or Tony Robbins or something had a dog that died. And they're like, there is no God. How can there be a God if I feel this much pain? And then he said he woke up one morning. He's like, now I know everything happens for a reason. I felt that much pain. That's so I could know how much I loved this dog. I was like, I don't know if I subscribe to that. But hey, good for you. So I get it. And Stephanie, you also have a worksheet on this. It's StephanieRennerspeaks.com/podcast offer, where people can download that just complimentary.
Yeah. So it just goes through the 7 steps, the 7 stages of regret to resilience, and not 7 stages, 7 steps. And it has a question at the end of each of them to sort of start the process of thinking about through these things. So it's a nice starting place for working through this method.
Perfect. And people can get in touch with you there also, right? Stephanie Renner
Yes.
Speaks.
StephanieRennerspeaks.com or regrettoresilience.com. That redirects you, but that's easier to remember.
Well, I really appreciate you coming back. Thank you. I feel complete now.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. And I've enjoyed it. Great conversations.
Yeah, it was awesome. And to the listener, Stephanie's story matters because she's willing to talk about these parts of grief. Like I just said, she's not an anomaly as a human. She has the same emotions. She talks about the love, the anger, the guilt, but also that little piece that might be relief. So this has been such a gift, and if this episode resonates, then obviously click that follow button, and if you know someone that needs it, pass it along. So this has been All Can, No Can't. I'm your host, Jeff Luther, and until next time, I absolutely cannot wait to see you. Thanks for listening to All Can, No Can't. If today's episode resonated with you, remember, it's not about the chaos you face. It's about how you choose to take back control. It's about finding that one small can in the can't you're given and grinding it down. Find your angle, carve your place out in the world, and get the fucking win. Do that by finding what you can do and not listening to what you can't. You choose. Be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Your support helps me reach more people that are ready to embrace the all-can mindset. And it lets them know there's someone that's willing to walk with them no matter how dark the path gets. You can find me on Insta at JDLuther 2.0 and allcan_no-can't. This is where I share more tips, stories, inspiration to help fuel your journey. And until next time, keep pushing boundaries, breaking limits, proving to yourself that anything is possible, even when you're told it isn't. Remember, life's not about can't. It's all can. Go prove them wrong.